Hello everyone and welcome to the Bearded Geeks, the weekly grab bag of topics covering movies, comics, video games and TV. My name is Jags and I'm not sick, but Patrick Brown is. And Mark Beresford's here too.
Hello.
You can talk now.
Hey.
You're sick.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's why you're segregated to the other side of the
I'm
room.
like right over in the corner.
Although you just spent fucking 2 hours sitting next to me in the cinema and you were like,
I know. I actually felt sorry for you because I knew it and I was like, oh, everyone's probably hearing me. I just had that tickle of your throat. I just couldn't get rid of it. It was so annoying.
you just need to turn over like,
When I was watching Shazam earlier in the day, because I went to that, and it was worse. I had this one little moment in the middle, and it just this tickle that kind of made your eyes water because I was just really trying not to cough. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh, I got it out. A bit of Coke fixed it. Actually, I just had a drink and I was fine.
so embarrassed for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was annoying.
A lot of people think cocaine fixes something. Like that scene from Crocodile Dundee.
We had a lot of false starts today because somebody got the cinema times wrong, but we just saw Pet Sematary.
Yeah, it was only like 4 hours after we were supposed to see it.
The internet is reliable. This is the first time it's ever happened to me. I got the cinema times wrong. We turned up and I was like, there's no screening time up on the thing. And then we checked him and they're like, no, it's not this time, you fuckhead. Come back later if you want to watch it. And I was like, we'll just come back later and fucking watch it, won't we? So we just saw Pet Sematary. 2019, Jason Clarke, all those other people that are in it, John Lithgow. It was a good time. Mark, you jumped right at the beginning of the film, didn't you?
Yeah, they
Didn't set a good precedence for you.
Is that the truck?
Because there was a jump scare right at the start, and he literally nearly leapt out of his leather jacket.
Yeah.
That was unexpected.
And I giggled because I thought it was funny.
My nerves aren't the best.
And then he turns to me and goes, I'm not hopeful now because they started with a jump scare, so that means there's going to be more jump scares.
It's so cheap. Like, it's such a cheap way of scaring people.
Yeah.
But
It's not earned. There's no build, there's no nothing. It's just like,
Especially pointless ones like that.
yeah.
yeah.
There's just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
car driving past, but yeah.
It's all about tension. I want tension. I want to feel tense. Build it up, baby.
Yeah, it cheapens all the tension that they end up building. Because
absolutely.
build it up and then just have a jump scare, and then build it up and then just have a jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, when there's actually a payoff, like when the money shot happens, it's just not as good.
Jizz in the face.
Yeah.
So, Pet Sematary, I guess I'll do the plot. I'm feeling a bit out of place.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to have to be careful with spoilers on this one.
We don't care about spoilers. We'll dance around and we might we'll do spoilers at the end, okay, Patrick Brown? Because Patrick Brown likes to tell everything.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick
He
Brown.
loves the spoilers.
Spill the beans.
He was telling me Shazam spoilers in the seat next to me. Like, when we were sitting on the couch before, I'm like, Mark's sitting right here. He hasn't seen it.
Yeah, shit,
And
I
he's
didn't
telling
think
me
about
Shazam-
that. See, I'm oblivious. I just start blabbing.
He's like, oh, what about... I was like, Mark, he hasn't seen it, you know.
Mark just slides the noise-proof headphones on.
Lewis Crane and his family moved from Boston to Ludlow, Maine to get away from the hectic, busy ER doctory life. And so he can spend more time with his family, slow down. That's the whole point of them moving. They move to a gigantic, like, 50-acre property, which also has a pet cemetery in the woods behind the house where all the locals go and bury their pets.
Pet Sematary.
With an S and an E and an M and an A-T-A-R-Y, which is spelled incorrectly. That's right. But, yeah, there's something else deeper in the darkest realms of the woods.
A rape dungeon.
Wow, this is why you're never on.
Yeah.
No, there's some spooky shit out in the woods. So, yeah, and it turns out, well, if you don't know, you go and you bury someone, the bloody animals come back to life, but they're not the same. They're fucking evil cats and shit.
That cat was evil beforehand.
The cat was very well cast.
Cats.
That's right, because there were 4 different cats in the credits. Because we stayed to see how many cats there were in the credits.
I wonder how they gave it like a bung eye. They must have to kind of
There's just like one of the producers just fucking.
I was just gonna say sticky tape or something. Yeah, that'd work.
Some guy did 7 years at film school to punch a cat in the eye.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the original Pet Sematary film from '89, directed by Mary Lambert. I quite like that movie. It's one of my, I don't know, it's one of my more liked Stephen King adaptations.
Yeah.
Not at the top with like Misery and those other films like The Mist, Green Mile and stuff like that. But I quite like the original Pet Sematary.
I remember the original felt very grounded and very paced.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Whereas a lot of the Stephen King movies tend to be kind of really just balls to the walls at moments.
Mm. King actually wrote the script. He adapted the script, from his book for that film. So he wrote the screenplay for the original Pet Sematary.
Okay.
And he had a cameo as the priest, the father at the funeral in the original film. Now, Patrick Brown, you've come in today with fresh eyes because you've never seen Pet Sematary. You've never read Pet Sematary. You only watched the trailer very recently.
I know nothing.
You came in like Jon Snow, knowing nothing about this movie, which is probably how, you'd want to experience a film.
Yeah. I don't know. I even said I watched the trailer, but to be honest, that was like a month or so ago. I don't even remember the trailer. So I actually went in I didn't even know who was acting in it. So that's how fresh I was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. And did you have a good time?
Yes. Yeah, I did. Like it was most of the time trying to, when I really don't know anything about it, I was kind of just trying to work out, half the time where's this going, what's the plot kind of thing. Like I said, I told you guys before, I originally thought it was just all going to be about dead animals, through the whole movie. And then,
just
quite
an
surprised.
army of gerbils coming back.
Yeah.
What's with all these undead hamsters?
Yeah, but I was really surprised by the twists and all the turns and stuff. So, really surprised me.
I only thought about it when we got out of the cinema. How do you go with movies like that?
Me, like scary movies and stuff. I love them.
The violence.
Violence, yeah. No, I love it. I love a good creepy movie. I'll put it on at like 11 o'clock at night, even in pitch dark. I love them. Doesn't bother me at all. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that night we had that piss up at your house and we put the Evil Dead remake on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there was like 10 of us and we sat there and watched it and all the girls were like, oh my God. And we're all sitting there like, fuck yeah.
We're like, fuck yeah.
You stuck the chainsaw in that fucking guy's face. That was awesome.
The tongue.
Oh, the tongue in the boxcar.
Oh,
yeah. Fuck
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good bit. I liked this movie. I did. It's hard for me. It's hard to judge it on its own, but then at the same time to go back and compare it and to not compare it to the preceding film. I felt like this was a more, in a lot of ways, faithful adaptation to the book, especially with the spoilers. The stuff surrounding like what's actually going on in the woods. There we go. I just talked my way around those spoilers. What's actually the reasoning behind how these things happen in the woods? It's not just because in the original film it was just like
Indian background.
Yeah, you go in the background. It's an Indian background, Lewis. Fred Gwynn, bloody Herman Munster, who I thought, just saying while we're on the subject of Jug Crandall, is the best Jug Crandall. Yeah. No offense to John Lithgow, he did a good job in this film, but he's no Fred Gwynn.
Yeah.
And even that opening line at the start is like, yeah, it's a good story about that. I'll tell you about that sometime. Tell the story too. whatever the line is. I'll take you down there sometime. Tell the story too. Fred Gwynn. Pat's got no idea what we're talking about. You have to watch the original Pet Sematary now.
John Lithgow was awesome though.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he did a good job in this film, but yeah, he's no Fred Gwynn.
Oh yeah,
like Fred Gwynn made that role. I really liked it. But the kind of the reasoning in that about what's behind the kind of the resurrections, shall we say, behind the pet cemetery. Because that's never really explained in the first film. It's an ancient Indian burial ground, and you bury shit there and it comes back, and that's it. And
I remember it just being like it was like a fucking like a grass knoll or something like that.
It was like they climbed up like the rise, and it was just like a
Yeah.
big dirt thing, and there was like a kind of like a circle, like circles, like not pentagram, but symbols like in the ground made of stone, like in a massive thing, and there are some gravy stuff in that. Grave like stuff. Like talismans and totems and shit like
Peppercorn
Yeah.
mushroom.
that. Diane.
It got me thinking. Like, I really like the concept of the thing they got going with the whole. They're kind of like zombies, but they're not. They're more. They're themselves pretty much. They can still think and talk, and go around, but they got this kind of evil tendency, and they can lash out and try and kill you and stuff, like friggin' Chucky. Like,
The ground is sour.
crazy. I kind of like that. Imagine a whole bunch of them. It'd be insane.
The
So
journey back to Earth via hell.
yeah,
Because it's different in this film because they've changed it. Because in the book and the original film, the child that dies is actually Gage, the little boy, like the 2-year-old boy or whatever, and he's the one who's resurrected and comes back. But
Chucky.
in the first film, when he comes back, he just comes back, and it's kind of like the end, kind of like he comes back super murderous, like
right.
straight away. There's no, you're back, you're normal or whatever.
build-up.
He just comes back like super murderous,
Because
like,
I was
straight away.
like, because I'm fresh. I was thinking to the girl, like, is the girl going to be? I knew they'd probably turn into the whole bad killer kind of thing, but yeah, I was kind of hoping there'd be some kind of, she's kind of herself and she's confused, and then it, more goes like she's just kind of flipping out, and then it goes bad. But yeah,
The kid who was in this movie, like the young boy, was it just me or did he look a lot like?
The original kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that was actually kind of creeping me out.
Yeah, I thought so. Like, you just looked at him and he's like, they've cast this really well because he looks like the kid in the original movie.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with changing the child because in the original, because I've never read the book. I've only ever seen the original film. In the original film, it's still the same premise. Church is Ellie's cat, and the cat dies, and she's the one who's, upset and asking the questions about death and stuff. So to kind of flip that coin over and make it the young girl who's actually questioning death, and they're trying to, coach her. In this film, the parents are very either side of the fence. So Lewis is, when people die, that's it. They go into the ground. There's no afterlife. There's no heaven. And the mother's a little bit more sympathetic. And, oh no, they've gone to a better place. They've gone to heaven. They watch down on you forever. And it's all still nice. Trying to be more protective. Whereas Dad's trying to be a little more realistic and wants to kind of break it to her now and prepare her for the world and what's going on. So there's kind of that, what's the word I'm after? Confliction there between the two. And, so it makes it more interesting for her to be the kid that's brought back, because she's the one actually questioning death, and they're trying to teach her, and, they're both conflicted about the methods of her learning about death. And the only way she fucking learns is to actually die herself and then to come back.
It was a nice fake out though, as well. Like, they spent the entire movie building up Ellie in the storyline, and then as the event occurred, Gage is suddenly in all the shots. Like, suddenly just brought straight
They
in
kinda
there.
teased
out of
it, that
nowhere.
It's just like that first movie again. Like, Gage is walking out to the street and he's running to catch him, and then, whatever happens, and then it's actually the little girl that the thing happens to. So
So that was probably one of those things they want to surprise the audience in a way, like unexpected.
Yeah.
Because they expect the boy to die, and they're like,
we were talking about this, like, when we left the cinema, like, because there are a lot of things that are different in this movie, things that I actually liked. I thought
Yeah.
for like the first 2/3 of the movie, it was very well made. It was very well told. I thought as I was watching, I'm like, this is probably better than the original. But then I felt in the end, in the third act, it was just like a quick race to the finish, and it kind of just ended too soon for me. It could have been played out just that little bit more. And the ending was changed from the book and the original film.
Yeah.
You might as well just.
Yeah, because we were talking about it, and it was like, you know, if you were gonna make a film now, like remake it again or do another adaptation of the book, like, why just do exactly the same thing? You know, you're pretty much just putting out an updated version. So these two guys who directed it, they previously directed Starry Eyes, which is a horror film from about 3 or 4 years ago, which is actually pretty good, I've heard. I haven't seen it.
Same.
I've heard it's pretty good. I can never track down a copy, though. But, yeah, we were just talking, like, you know, maybe they just want to put their own stamp on it. They're like, look, we know the original's so loved, and we like the original, and we just don't want to do a carbon copy, so we're going to, like, tweak a few things, and we're going to change it just to justify its existence.
Well, it was good that some of the stuff that they changed from the original was kind of, from what I understand, was kind of pointing back more towards the novel.
Yes.
So they, I guess, kind of cherry-picked the bits and pieces that they were going to use, for the most part. The bits and pieces they were going to use to kind of shake the movie up a little bit. And it still kind of came from the original source.
Yeah, I got the idea that there was a lot more to, like, in the background as well that they didn't explain. You know, like what's that monster that's they didn't really explain that, but it's kind of there. You know, seems like there's more to the movie than.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the book. Full spoilers. The Wendigo is incredibly, like, prevalent in the book, from my understanding.
Oh, right.
It's always there in the background, and they worked it into this film very well because it gets into people's heads and, you know, lures them and puts the ideas into their head, and you know, it's got, like, you know, when they say in the film, when they actually go, you know, beyond the impasse and to the kind of the burial ground or whatever, or where the ground is sour or whatever, they say, you know, can you feel that? It's, you know, you can feel that kind of presence or whatever, you know, it's got like a pull, you know, it's pulling you there, you know, in the book, the Wendigo gets in people's heads, and, you know, it's like tempting them to come, and, you know, that kind of thing, getting in people's heads and kind of twisting them and, you know, pushing them to come to that place and do those things. And it plays a much bigger role in the original book. And here they do touch on that quite a bit. In a roundabout sort of way, like that, you know, it's got this pull, you know, it kind of pulls you toward, you know, this place, but then they actually, once or twice, you know, Judd pulls out the book and he's like, the Wendigo, he's like showing him in the book and whatever, and then there's a scene where he goes to bury Ellie and you hear, like, the roar, and then you can see it just beyond kind of in between the trees, you know, you can kind of see the silhouette of this gigantic creature in the trees or whatever. So that's kind of, the presence, kind of the thing behind it all, really. Yeah.
That's cool.
And it was a good addition to the intoxication that he comes under, instead of just being this forced narrative, like the forced drive. So, and compared to the original where it was just grief.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I really liked the look of the film. I thought it looked very nice. Maine was great. There was a lot of Stephen King Easter eggs in there. Obviously, when she's in the traffic jam, she's just outside Derry, you know, where it takes place. Really? At Ellie's birthday party, after she blows out the candles and everybody kind of goes their way, you can just hear Judd talking about a Saint Bernard, which is obviously Cujo.
Right.
And there's a couple others in there. There was one other, I can't really remember what it was, But anyway, there are other Stephen King. I was listening to like I was trying to listen to like the radio when she's in the car. I'm like, two people were airlifted out of something, and I'm like, what's going on there? That's got to be another Stephen King thing. They're talking about in the background there. But what was I saying before this? Before I went to Stephen King history? Oh, the look of the film, because there's a scene which really fucking took me out of the movie, where they're making their way. It's before they go up the steps for the first time up to the cemetery. There's this shot where it's facing John Lithgow and Jason Clarke, and they begin to walk to the camera, and it is the most obvious like green screen shot
with the lightning,
you've ever seen.
Strike of lightning in the background.
I think
and stuff.
it was, and then like
quite fake, didn't it?
It pulls out and it shows kind of the it's looking down kind of the staircase. You can see John Lithgow and he's looking up, and you're like, okay, that's a set. But the shot immediately before it, they're kind of walking toward the camera, and it's real bad green screen shot.
I couldn't work it out. Like, everything that is in the Pet Cemetery area is all done on a soundstage.
Yeah.
Like, it's all... You can only see 6 to 10 feet.
They absolutely go to town with the fucking fog in this movie, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a bit overdone, the fog.
Yeah. Like, you'd fucking go to unbutton your shirt and fog would just be coming out. From it was, I don't understand why. It was all clearly soundstage.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a pickup shot or something.
Yeah, true.
They're like, we need a little something extra. Stand there, boys, in front of the green screen. Walk toward it. I'm still comparing to the original because we're talking about there was stuff that was better, but at the same time there were things that were worse as well. I really liked all the setup and the Wendigo stuff, but then at the same time in the original I liked just the whole grief aspect. It's just it's too much. The grief's too much to bear. Yeah. And there is some of that in this movie, but they've kind of gone back to the more supernatural element and brought that in instead of the grief. So it's kind of like taking your pick at which one you prefer. Do you want the more faithful book one, or do you want the original kind of movie interpretation? But
having Ellie there, like, you got more of a connection with Ellie than you did in the original when
with Gage.
Yeah, with Gage.
Essentially, he was only a 2-year-old, so he's only got, like, that toddler speak in that, in the first one, so you don't really have a proper chance to connect with him, which is absolutely true, I do agree. You connect with Ellie so much more in this one. But Judd has a line after she dies, he's like, Ellie is the first one to touch my heart, in so many years, I just didn't want her to, be exposed to the pain or whatever. I just wanted to keep her safe and all that sort of stuff. And I didn't believe that. Like, I didn't really feel there were a few scenes with, like, Judd and Ellie in the film, but I'm like, you could have sold it just that little bit better. Just another 1 or 2 scenes, them spending time together. She's drawing, or, they're really, just to show that they're really taken with each other.
I really like the creepiness that Ellie... between her and the dad when it all first happens, like, and she's home, and like he has to lay in bed with her, and she says, like, don't go, and stay in the bed, and then, but it's just like, it literally felt like you were looking at a corpse, like, still, and that's what it felt like, and it's like, and he in his eyes you can kind of see, like, holy shit, what am I doing, like, and this is weird, like, I kept imagining just like her in her coffin, but she's in the bed, like, it was weird.
Yeah, those first couple of scenes where she came back, where
he's bathing her, and
she's got like a bung eye, and...
like she hadn't actually sort of unleashed anything yet.
No,
and you can just like hear the tone of her voice change and the slightly more gravelly aspect.
Just feel it.
Yeah. And
especially
and even just the look, because she's a very pretty little girl. She's got very nice skin and stuff. And when they bring her back, her hair's all it's all dark and dirty and horrible, and her skin is all pasty white. And she's got like the blue veins and everything. And they've done up one of her eyes, so one of her eyes is kind of half shut. Kind of looks like a bit of a lazy eye, sort of thing. And she just really brings across that heavier, more intense presence, because whereas previous she's more light and jovial and happy and all that sort of stuff, but definitely nice gear change in that there. I don't know what this kid's little name. The little kid's name is Jete or something like that. It was in the opening credits, Jete Sullivan or something like that. Yeah, I thought she did pretty good job.
Yeah, no disputing that. She got a little bit borderline. It could have got really fucking ridiculous, like when
I thought it got a little bit ridiculous at the end.
yeah, that was a swift kick.
About there was like a fight scene at the end, you know.
Between her and the dad and the mum.
Yeah,
and all that,
at the end
And
of the
she
Pet
went
Cemetery.
full fucking Conor McGregor on it.
Oh yeah. She was showing like almost a bit more strength than she should have. Is that right?
Yeah,
It was just insane, and she was just all over him and trying to kill him and all this sort of stuff. And
it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like you had this character who was sort of stalking the entire movie, and then all of a sudden she can fucking punt a guy's head off.
Yeah.
From nowhere.
Yeah.
And that just kind of felt like it changed the fight scene almost instantly, really. But yeah, there was so much that happened in that 30 seconds to 2 minutes after that you ended up forgetting about it anyway.
yeah. Going back to like changes and stuff from the original film, like I really liked Victor Pascal. We talked about this in the car on the way back. I really liked Victor Pascal in the original film because he's the kid on the bike and he gets hit and they bring him into his doctor's surgery like at the clinic, like on the campus or whatever, and his brain's hanging out of his head or whatever, and he tries to save him and he dies. And then Victor comes back like through the rest of the movie and they actually Victor appears. It's kind of like an American Werewolf in London thing, you know, where he comes back and instead of just appearing and going, "Oh, I have to save you" and all this shit, and then disappearing off into the darkness and like wait and following him and stuff, they're actually like full conversating. He's like, "Oh, you know," he's like, "I've come back to help you. You tried to help me. I've come back to help you." And then, you know, he talks to him about the Pet Cemetery and stuff, and he's like, you know, something's gonna happen and you can't like cross that line. And then he tries to stop him through the entire film. But Victor in this is more just kind of like a ghostly entity apparition. And he does say that. He's like, "You tried to help me, and now I'm going to try and help you. Like, don't cross the barrier or whatever." And then he kind of just often wisps off into nothing. So he's not capitalized or used as much.
Yeah, it changed it from Victor being the sort of the moral compass and the reasoning to just Victor being the warning sticker on the hairdryer.
Yeah.
Like, and there didn't really seem to be that much point to him appearing for Gage in this movie.
Yeah, he was
Like,
kind of haunting him, really, wasn't he?
yeah, but
Scaring the
he
kid.
kind of
They
only
just
haunted him for like 2 small scenes.
Yeah, like in the car.
They just needed a reason for them to get back home.
I would have thought that the mum had enough reason.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What else? Victor in the original film. At the end, there's a scene because we all know what happens at the end, and he tries to stop Lewis again at the end, and it's more desperate. And there's this great scene where Lewis is carrying the body, and Victor's there. He appears to him on the path to the Pet Cemetery. He's like, "No, Lewis, you can't do this. Enough's already happened. You have to stop." And he just like walks like straight through him, and he, whoosh, you know, is like a ghost and that. And he's like crying out to him, like, you know, you're like, "Stop! You can't do it," or whatever, and that. But yeah, in this guy's just like, he appears and disappears and whatever and that. But that brain shot was pretty good. Like when he rolls his head over and you got to and she's like, "I can see his brain." I was just like, that was pretty good. I did enjoy that.
I was actually half expecting, based on what happened with Victor, when they came around to show Ellie, I was expecting something so bad, something just sprayed right across the fucking scene.
I thought that too, but yeah, not so much.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit harder to bury your child in the Pet Cemetery when they're in a fucking Ziploc bag.
Yeah, like she was hit by a tanker and sent flying, but I mean, I thought it would have been a bit more.
Yeah, she didn't have any damage really.
A bit more gruesome.
I was going
than
to ask
it was.
too. What's because when you get buried like that, don't they take out your organs and brain and stuff like that? Like, is that what that stitch was? Did she have no brain, or
Perhaps she had the really bad head injury or something like that, and they stapled it back
okay.
up. And
So I was going to say, she can't really function without all that stuff.
that's what I thought too. Like, if she's already in the ground and that, and they pull her out, she's like already pumped full of like chemicals and that to keep her,
Yeah.
you know, presentable for an open casket or whatever and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, if we're going down this route, like, how is she supposed to file her tax returns when she turns 18?
Well, it's not meant to get that far because it was written that they all, you know, X equals Y and this person dies if this thing comes back and whatever and that. So,
Like, do they age stuff like that? I'd like to know that.
well, it'll never get that far, so we don't have to ever worry about it. So,
well, they're probably going to have a sequel now. It's just like, well, we're spoiling it anyway, but like with the family just hanging out and happy as Larry, and they're all dead, but they're like not dead.
So this turns into, in your mind, this movie turns into the Munsters.
Yeah.
it goes back to Fred Gwynn in the original.
Yep.
So they do change the ending in this, because in the original film, Gage comes back and Lewis finally subdues him and pumps him full of morphine, and he dies again for the second time. But his wife's already been killed, so he carries her off to the pet cemetery and buries her, and then comes back home, and he's sitting on the kitchen floor and he's playing solitaire, and then he eventually hears her walk up the stairs, and she comes in and she's like, "Oh, Lewis, my love," or whatever, and she's got like half her face is gone, you can like see her skull, and she's got like the bloody eye cavity socket and whatever, and then they kiss, and all this like pus like sprays out of her face, and it's real gross. And then I believe that there's a scene of her like reaching for like the kitchen knife, and she goes to grab it, and then it cuts to black. And I don't know if Lewis screams or not. I think there's like a scream over the credits, and then cut to the Ramones because they don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. But in this, they've changed the ending, and I thought the movie was really well paced, like right up until the third act. And then when she got back, she got home, and then all the stuff where, you know, he put her into bed, or he put her into bed, and then she's like, "Stay here with me, Daddy," and then they wake up, and then that's when shit goes pear-shaped. And Judd finds out, and then Judd's killed. I thought that was it was a bit of a like race to the finish. I felt like, you know, I could have pumped it out like another 5 or 6 minutes, like just stretched it out just a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I think the third act would have only been about 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. But they changed the ending in this, and that's where we go back to talking about, like, you know, if these guys, perhaps they're fans of the original, and they're like, look, if we're going to do it, we can't just do the same thing. Let's try to justify its existence or whatever,
Yeah.
and we'll change the ending. So we're already talking spoilers anyway. So the ending for this film is that Rachel's killed, and as she's dying, she says to Lewis, she's like, don't bury me in that place. And then Ellie comes along and smashes him over the head and knocks him out. And then it cuts to Ellie dragging Rachel through the woods, and obviously she buries her behind the pet cemetery. Lewis gives chase, gets to the pet cemetery. Ellie says it's too late. They have a fight scene, like a struggly fight scene, and he's about to kill her, and then he's impaled through the back by Rachel, who is now undead. They take his body. We cut back to Gage, who's in the car, and then we see the house on fire across the street, and then we see the three of them walking toward the car, and him knock on the window, and then cut to black, and you hear like chop chop, you know, the car unlock. Because they pretty much showed the what's after that scene at the very beginning of the film.
Yeah, that. Why?
Yeah, like, oh, it's like, we know it's going to go bad. Like, you don't have to, like, set it up and pretty much show us all at the beginning. Because they do show that the car door's open, it's got a bloody handprint on it, and we see, like, dirty foot marks going up to the thing, and we see a big blood trail from the stairs, like, go into the house, and the door's shut. So, obviously, they kill Gage, and they're going to go and bury him behind the pet cemetery, and he's going to come back undead, and they're going to be one undead murdering family.
Just as a side note as well, your cinema, that opening shot with the trees, your cinema like looks up at the screen. That's a really, like, I was feeling nauseous in the first 30 seconds.
I thought that too.
The perspective's off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it kind of like that.
Because I was watching it and I was like, that's a really good drone shot. They must have got like the best drone pilot ever to do this shot.
And then all of a sudden you're just thinking,
The sound was actually good in the cinema though, because we actually got some good surround, because I was getting a lot of good stuff off to my left, like in my ear.
Yeah,
I got a lot of good popcorn noises behind me too. It was bloody annoying.
Mark, do you think this is better than the original film? Or it's just better and worse? It's just another film.
It's just different.
Yep, it's just different. I agree.
You wouldn't be able to... The original film wouldn't have the same impact these days. It's just a different... Films were paced differently.
A different time. Different time, man.
For kids who've not seen Pet Sematary, who may not really have that much reference to it, I wouldn't be brutally disappointed if this was my Pet Sematary.
No, I agree with that totally.
Yeah. There was no need to cover the Ramones at the end. But,
yeah, there was a band called Starcrawler.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just get the original in? That would have been better.
No idea.
Obviously, the guys who made this movie were fans of the original and that as well. And they're like, look, that is such, like, there are so many scenes in that movie that are, well, there's a few that are iconic in a way. And even that song starting on those end credits are iconic, not only because it's a great fucking song, but just from the dour bleak ending, boom, into this rockin' bloody Ramone song on the end credits. That's iconic in its own way. So they're like, okay, we have to do it again. But there was a piece of score as we were leaving the cinema, because we pretty much got up to leave as the song was finishing, and there was a piece of like tension piece at the end, and I thought, for changing the ending as you did, and it was bleak, and you know me, Patrick Brown, I fucking love a bleak ending.
You love a bleak ending.
I fucking love a good bleak ending. I love them.
He loves them.
And I thought it would have had just that bit more impact if they'd switched that around. If they'd had that piece of music first as soon as the credits hit, and then people could have left a bit depressed. That's what I would have preferred. But then maybe they played that song after.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't hate the cover of that song, but it's not the fucking Ramones. No. You know?
Well, the entire reason why the Ramones did that song is because Stephen King was just a massive Ramones fan.
Yeah.
And he invited the band over to his house. I think it was Dee Dee. Gave Dee Dee a copy of the book. And I think Dee Dee might have ended up sending him back some lyrics about the novel. And they copped a wave of bullshit for that song. Like, it was fucking...
The sellouts.
Yeah, it was hated. And, like, everyone thought that it was just a piece of shit, which I don't really understand. Like, you listen to one Ramones song, you listen to all of them.
But he did a fantastic job with those lyrics, because they're so appropriate for the film, the book, and that as well. I mean, it's it's not just a song that's written for a fucking movie, you know. It's actually someone's taken the time to fucking read the book and incorporate a lot of that into the song.
Yeah. And it's got the...
which we talked about on our last episode, and we didn't get a chance to talk about, actually, 80s movies and...
Oh, the soundtracks.
Like getting metal bands in to do like one sick fucking song for like a horror movie, like Motorhead in Hellraiser 3.
Yeah. I'll apologize straight up for the drunkenness of the soundtracks episode.
Yeah,
but it was fun.
Our last episode, we were a bit drunk in our uncut and uncensored best and worst movie soundtracks episode. So yeah, but anti-vaxxers. We're on to yours.
The Ramones Pet Sematary had the new wave sound, because it was very much hitting the time where, you know, bands like Blondie, Talking Heads, things like that. Like they were shifting away from the CBGB New York punk sound, and they were becoming more radio, but in that sort of new wave style. So it had elements of that. It had the original the original Bowery punk sound, and it had Joey's kind of stiff upper lip presentation, and it just, I don't know, it fits with the movie really well, like stupidly well.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. I'm compelled now. I think I want to read the book.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go buy the fucking book tomorrow. Bugger it.
You reckon you're going to read it, though?
Yeah, I'll read it. I don't have Facebook now. I've got time to read it.
Yeah. You got an extra 70 hours a week.
Yeah. There was one thing that I absolutely loved about the original film that was missing for this, and it's the story that Judd tells about Timmy Roberts or whatever his name
whatever
is.
He is.
Yeah, the Marine, the like flashback to like the 50s or whatever, and the Marine, the brother that died, and then they buried him behind, and he came back, but you know, he wasn't the same, and then eventually they had to burn down the house with him in it. You know, and that's really like fucking compelling and impactful in the original film. Like, it's kicking the guts, like, here's what could happen. Like, I'm gonna fucking tell you now, this is what happened, you know?
Yeah.
And I was waiting for that in this, but it didn't happen. And John Lithgow did the line from the book in the original film, which Fred Gwynne did better. I thought he did a really good job, but when they tried to do like specific lines from the book or from the last movie that were very iconic, like sometimes dead is better. That was good.
Yeah.
But the stone of a man's heart is different. That line or whatever. I thought that just fell flat as fuck.
Yeah. There was a tortured sort of wisdom that. Like, no one would really be able to capture it that well, but yeah, Lithgow didn't quite hit it. He was good though.
He was good. He was good. Yeah, he definitely was good. And the Zelda storyline, I thought, was a lot more compelling in this one as well. It was good in the original film, but they just ramped it up a bit extra horror-y in this, especially the scene where she looks at the fucking lift and she looks up under and then she falls down.
Yeah.
That got me good.
Yeah, that was freaky.
And oh fuck, you might as well just spoil everything.
What am I spoiling?
The fake out with the scalpel.
Ah, yes. One of the most iconic scenes from the original film is when Judd is walking around his house looking for Gage, because he knows Gage is in the house. And then he walks into his bedroom and Gage pops out from under the bed and slices his Achilles tendon.
I was waiting for that.
Tries to run away and he separates.
So I thought that was going to happen.
And for anyone who'd seen the original film or read the book, you knew that was coming. And then he gets to, he's in the bedroom and he goes up there and he's looking or whatever. And then he kind of sees the bed and he kind of takes a step back and then he kicks the corner of the bed and the bed goes sliding.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's what they did in the first one.
I was kind of wondering.
Popped out from under
it was
there.
even obvious to me. I was
the
like,
fucking thing is, Patrick Brown.
they still did it.
The fucking thing is, they showed it in the trailer. They showed the scene where he's on the staircase and she pops out and goes, "Whee!" and then goes for the ankle. And then it cuts to black before it actually happens. And I'm like, well, that's ruined that now because I knew that was going to happen. Like, I saw the bed and that, and I'm like, well, this... But then I thought they might have done like a Marvel... like a Marvel trailer, and like we're just going to put this fake bit in the trailer so people think it's going to happen there, but it actually happens exactly the same. He pops out from under the bed.
That's why I've stopped watching so many trailers.
Yeah, me too. me too.
But yeah, you want to talk about tension in the movie. The build up to that scene with the bed, by far the most tense that I felt in that entire movie.
Absolutely, I agree. Totally. That was the best tension building scene in the movie.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. I'm having a bit of trouble unpacking this one tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of A lot of subtle little changes and subtle little nods and things like that. But
more aiming toward the supernatural and that more the cemetery area or the area behind the cemetery having more of a presence of its own and someone actually behind that.
Yeah.
The Wendigo.
it was
itself.
the allure and compared to the grief.
Exactly.
Which kind of sounds a little bit odd considering how they built Ellie in the storyline. That felt like it was kind of trying to play to that grief a bit more. But as soon as things started getting rolling, it was old Wendigo.
The thing I got out of it too was once they come back, they're definitely not themselves. So it's like that wasn't Ellie, like definitely not his daughter.
Yeah,
That's what I got out of it. You know, it's kind of like that Wendigo thing is just kind of possessing him or something. I don't know. That's kind of what I thought, because there's no way that she would want to kill her parents and all that stuff if it was really her.
So other than sequels and prequels, like what's the next King hit list?
Well, I just read, just while I just did a quick bit of research for this, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura is a producer on it. You know, he's already talking about doing another film, but instead of doing a sequel, they do a prequel. So
it's going to be shit.
Probably. So they would just mine the fuck out of it. They would mine more heavily into the book, and perhaps they would do the marine story, the aspect, or someone who lived in the house previous, But I didn't hate this movie. I thought it was quite good. I thought it was a really good King adaptation as far as King adaptations go. We're getting a lot of good ones lately. I thought the ending was a bit rushed, the third act. I like the ending of the original film better. Yep. This ending wasn't bleak enough for me.
It wasn't bleak enough.
It felt a bit soft, actually, to be honest. It felt a little bit soft.
Still not scary either.
Not scary, no. I thought there were other aspects of the film that were scarier than this.
Oh, yeah.
The actual ending. But, no, I didn't hate it. I'd recommend it. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. But go back and watch the original as well, because Fred Gwynne is a better John Crandall.
I want to nominate Cujo. I want that.
Did you read about the stuff they were talking about, the Cujo remake? I'm doing air quotes.
No. Was he going to be a French bulldog?
No.
Because I'll pay for that.
No, he was going to be a Saint Bernard, but instead of just a Saint Bernard that was, got rabies and went mad, it was going to be like a military experiment dog, super dog that escapes and attacks people, and Cujo is actually an acronym for whatever it stands for. Crazy, undead, jumpy orifice. I don't know. Whatever.
Cujo 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, Cujo Squared or something like that. He'd have a collar and it'd be a fucking acronym code or some shit like that.
Team up with Idris Elba.
But that original movie was really good. You don't need to go back to it. And I mean, King doesn't even remember writing that book.
Is that when he was going through his, what did he have? He had an accident or some shit.
No, he went on a coke bender over a weekend.
Yeah.
And then when he came out of it, the Monday morning, he woke up and he found the basket next to his desk was full of bloody tissues.
Yeah.
And there was a manuscript for Cujo sitting there next to his typewriter.
See, Paddy, it doesn't fix sinuses.
And he doesn't remember writing any of it.
You'll write a screenplay, though.
Mark, would you recommend Pet Sematary?
I'd recommend it to people who haven't watched the original. Like, if they need a Pet Sematary, this would be their Pet Sematary.
Yeah, this would be totally fine. If you've never seen Pet Sematary, I totally agree with you. This would be a fine one to just slot into your...
Yeah.
Try not to do what you're going to do what we did. And go in and immediately compare it to the original.
It's hard not to. Like, in so many ways, this is way better. Like, I prefer so much in this than I do to the original. But then there are a couple of things in the original that would just be better. So if we just take a bastardized version and we edit those two movies together, and we make our own, we would have the perfect Pet Sematary movie.
That improves the third act.
Patrick Brown, would you recommend Pet Sematary? Did you get a lot out of it?
Yeah, I would. Like you guys said, I totally agree. As a person who doesn't know the original at all, I think this is just a good horror flick, or what do you call it? Horror thriller thing. Yeah,
King adaptation.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good watch.
Just quickly though, let me ask you, get the parents' perspective. How did you feel as the only parent out of the three of us that went and saw it, with kids dying and then reresurrected and that? Did you did you project yourself into Lewis's shoes and be like,
yes, because there was bits where I was, I don't know why, but it did intensify for me. There was the bit that really freaked me out was when the truck's coming, and wasn't so much the girl I was worried about. It was the little boy, and I see him looking at the girl, and he's about to run. I got real kind of anxiety there. I was just like, oh, fucking... and I was just like, shit, because I know what that's like, because Mason, at that age, they really have no awareness of what a road is and what's going to happen. They have they just run on it. And I've had to stop Mason a few times and in the past, and I keep trying to tell him and hammer it into his head, your roads are bad, watch out for cars, you got to look both ways, all that. That really freaked me out. And, the ending where, I just didn't want the little boy to get hurt, and he's in the car.
Oh, he's dead.
And then,
he's very
they're
dead.
coming back. I was like, fucking hell.
He's very fucking dead.
He ate a shovel.
They're one big undead family.
Yeah. So I was like, damn it. Damn those bleak endings.
You're going to show him Pet Sematary as like a road safety video?
I should. This bit here, yeah.
What'd you give it out of 5?
Out of 5? 3.5.
Mark?
Out of 5?
It's probably 2.5.
2.5. Straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Like, if this movie wasn't...
Same as Shazam. I gave Shazam a 3 out of 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If this movie wasn't made, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. Like, I didn't hate it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it in more ways than the other compared to the original, especially the Wendigo stuff, working that back in.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I really liked it. Go see it. You probably will anyway. I'll watch it on Netflix when it comes.
Yeah, it won't be far away.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
No worries.
Awesome. No worries.
This is the third episode we've done in like 3 days.
Yeah.
So we're fucking going balls out this week.
I think you can hear the exhaustion in our voices at this.
I actually am very tired. It's like 12:30 a.m. I'm going to bed now. Thanks everyone. We'll see you all next week on the Bearded Bleak Geeks.
On the Bearded Bleaks.
The Bearded Bleaks. We should do that. That should be a segment. We should do bleak endings. The Bearded Bleaks. That's happening. We're gonna do it. All right. See you next week on the Bearded Geeks. Hey!
See you, wench.